Our Brewers-Braves game day coverage starts tonight at 6:05. We are the home of the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 10 o'clock, it's 62 degrees on our way up to 69 in Milwaukee, 76 inland. A little bit of haze under that wildfire smoke. From the WTMJ Breaking News Room, I'm Greg Matzek. As protests against ICE raids continue in Los Angeles, a sharp exchange early in Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's testimony before a House committee over the deployment of National Guard troops to Los Angeles. CBS News correspondent Allison Keyes.
Democratic Minnesota Representative Betty McCollum compared the immigration protest in L.A. to those held in Minneapolis after the police killing of George Floyd.
This looks nothing like the George Floyd protests or the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the National Guard there was called in far too late.
The police precinct, ma'am, was abandoned and burned to the ground.
Hegseth says the nation ought to be able to enforce immigration law. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
Another 2,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines are being deployed to L.A. Well, many health experts are alarmed after Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. fired all 17 members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee.
Kennedy says his purge will restore the public's trust in vaccines. CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder, editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News, fears Kennedy will replace medical experts with vaccine skeptics like himself, causing Americans to lose confidence in vaccinations and stop getting them.
And unfortunately, that might lead to more outbreaks, like what we're seeing with measles now in West Texas.
The American Medical Association says Kennedy's firings upend a transparent process that has saved countless lives. Michael Wallace, CBS.
Meanwhile, in Milwaukee, a mother whose son was poisoned by lead says she's now concerned for her daughters.
Shy McElroy got her son's diagnosis when he was 5. Fast forward, he's 18 and still dealing with the consequences of lead poisoning. Now McElroy is concerned for her girls, 7-year-old twins, both students at Milwaukee Public Schools, a district dealing with its own lead crisis.
One of them has had elevated lead levels, and can I attribute that to my home or to the school? I'm scared, and it's like deja vu all over again.
She says her daughters had perfect attendance until she learned about the lead issues at MPS.
Is that what our society has come to? Their parents have to make that decision. Okay, well, maybe you won't get a dose of lead poison today, so you can stay home.
Jessica Tighe, WTMJ News.
A shooting at a school in Austria has killed at least 9 people and wounded several others. The suspected gunman is also dead. CBS's Holly Williams reports from the foreign desk in London.
Austria's interior minister says that the suspect in the attack was a former student at the secondary school where the shooting took place, but did not graduate. The Austrian police say the suspect was a 21-year-old Austrian man who they believe acted alone. They say he used 2 guns during the attack and later killed himself at the scene.
Austrian Chancellor Christian Stocker has declared 3 days of national mourning. And Milwaukee and Wisconsin leaders continue working on finding new ways to make Milwaukee drivers safer on the streets.
A new bill could bring speed and red light cameras to Milwaukee's intersections. Senator LaTanya Johnson.
Cameras that would be placed only after community input and public notice. Cameras that would be used to slow people down and hold those who make our neighborhoods unsafe accountable.
Mariah Johnson wishes the cameras were in place to help her family.
Speeder drivers are hurting and killing people every single day. I know this because a speeding driver killed my brother Gerald Wellinger on August 7th of 2021.
If the bill passes, Milwaukee would be the first city in Wisconsin to test camera enforcement. Nizer Spencer, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Lots of green here this morning with the Dow up about 50 points at 42,815. NASDAQ up about 50 at 19,638. S&P 500 staying over the 6,000 mark, up about 16 points today at 6,021. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. The Packers are on the practice field. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:04.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like like free money? Download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SAND25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SAND25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SAND25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. I hope you'll join me and Brian Jacobson, the chief economist for Annex Wealth Management, this Wednesday, June 11th at 9 a.m. as we dive into the markets, inflation, your 401k, and the economy. I know it's complicated and you have a lot of questions. Brian's got a lot of answers. This is a free webinar, but you need to register ahead of time. Go to WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or you can find it at AnnexWealth.com. It's Wednesday, June 11th, 9 a.m. Register today.
Hi, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network. Ridgetop Exteriors, Wisconsin's trusted name in home improvement, does more than just top-quality roofing. They're your go-to for maintenance-free siding and energy-efficient windows, too. Ridgetop has expert credentials with leading manufacturers like Pella, James Hardie, and LP Smart Siding. For over 20 years, they delivered exceptional craftsmanship and service. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Ridgetop Exteriors, where customer service always comes first.
Ridgetop Exteriors.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Day one of mandatory minicamp for the Packers. Offensive lineman Elton Jenkins, who skipped voluntary workouts amid contract talks, is with the team but unlikely to practice this week. It is expected Jenkins will play center, snapping the ball to Jordan Love this season.
I have no doubt that he'd be able to step in and be a great center. He's the most experienced guy we have in the O-line room. He definitely knows all the calls and everything he has to do. We've got a good amount of snaps banked in the tank to be able to go forward, but with that QB center exchange, we work that every day. So that's something that once he gets back out here, we'll have to keep working.
Brewers look to bounce back after a Monday night loss to the Braves. Coverage of tonight's Game 2 begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. Taking a look at your roads, a WTMJ Time Saver traffic update. You got a right shoulder blockage due to a crash, 43 southbound. It's about a half mile beyond the ramp from Silver Spring. So things a little slow in that area. There is a police vehicle parked on the side of the road along with the vehicles involved in the crash. Plus, you've got construction, so a little slow going, about a 5-minute delay if you're making your way through that stretch of freeway. Otherwise, usual slowdown spots here, 4145 southbound, Good Hope to the Zoo interchange. That's going to run you 18 minutes, about an 8-minute delay. Delays start about 175 and push down just south of Capitol Drive. If you're making your way northbound, delays start about Watertown Plank. Things start to break up a little bit once you get closer to Hampton. A little bit of wildfire haze in the skies, some clouds, and a high of 75 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 63. Going to feel like summer on Wednesday, mostly sunny, a little bit of humidity. There is a chance for some rain, maybe some storms at night, a high of 83 degrees. Right now, it's 62 degrees in Peshtigo, 62 in Pewaukee, 61 in Poughkeepsie, and 63 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzek, Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:09.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scafidi and Kristen Bry.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday show. Kristen Bry.
Steve Scafidi.
Looking good on this Tuesday, as you always do.
I do what I can. It's a radio show, so it doesn't really matter.
Is it really, though?
But you can watch us if you like to watch the YouTube stream. You can always text WATCH to 855-616-1620 and see the looks I give Steve throughout the show.
Yeah, and why do you think Matzek is such a dandy now? He knows the cameras are on him. He's a good-looking man. He gets it.
Yeah,
he understands. All right, so we spent a lot of time yesterday with Matt Smith talking about all things protests and certainly what's happening in Los Angeles. You and I spent some time later in the show as well. I'm a big fan of actually reading and listening to what the people, the principal characters involved have to say about this issue, right? I've got a good memory. At least I pride myself in having a good memory. And I'm often confused by when people listen to the show, well, that's you saying that, Steve. That's Kristen saying that, Steve. And often I just want to say, you know what, you gotta pay attention more. You have to like figure out what's going on in our world and what other people are saying. So I thought we'd go on the Wayback Machine, which is sort of an old term from I think it's a car.
Not to be confused with the Waymos that were set on fire.
Yeah, in Los Angeles, yes, to tie it all back together. So we're going to start with this one clip. It's from, I believe it was February of 2024. This is the Sean Hannity show on Fox. He's got Kristi Noem, who then was the governor. South Dakota? Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, of course, the cabinet-level secretary. Listen to the conversation and how they approached the subject of the use of National Guard troops.
The Republican governors, they all deserve credit, that stood by Governor Abbott's side. If you didn't stand with him in solidarity, I'm not sure Biden wouldn't have precipitated a real crisis down there.
Yeah, Sean, I went the actual day that showdown was supposed to happen. People asked me why, when I heard the news, I immediately the next day was at the border. And it was because of what I heard Democrats encouraging the president to do. They were encouraging President Biden to activate our National Guard soldiers so that they would stand down. He actually was going to take control of our South Dakota National Guard and actually activate them so that they would not protect America. So recognizing the real threat that was to states' rights and how that would be the first time in history a president would pay a soldier to not fight, to not protect our country, made me show up in Texas the next day to let Governor Abbott know I'm here. South Dakota is with you. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend our rights, because the last several years we've seen the Democrats take away our freedom of religion, our freedom of assembly, our freedom of speech. We can't let them take away our states' rights, too, especially our right to protect ourselves.
Now, hold on a second.
Freedom of assembly, what?
That's Kristi Noem, of course, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security, and Sean Hannity on Fox. I think she's arguing that presidents shouldn't use the net. I'm not saying that. That's what she said.
She said that.
Yeah,
she said
out loud,
this would be
on
an
TV.
overreach for Biden to deploy South Dakota's National Guard.
She went down to Texas herself because she likes to do that stuff. She likes to dress up and then go pretend she's part of whatever group she's standing around with. So she went to Texas to defend the idea that no, presidents shouldn't use National Guard troops in sort of these incidents in the states, right? Because what do they always say about states? States' rights?
States' rights, yeah.
Kind of important, right?
Yeah.
And we could even talk about abortion if we sort of want to link that story.
This is the thing that's interesting to me as far as when it comes to states' rights, the states should decide on abortion laws. We're now arguing that states should be in charge of education. When it comes to immigration,
no. All right, so he goes even further than that. I went back to 2020. You'll recognize this voice. You actually heard a little bit of it in the clip there. That was my fault. Just listen to the words and the subject matter of this conversation.
We have laws. We have to go by the laws. We can't move in the National Guard. I can call insurrection, but there's no reason to ever do that. Even in a Portland case, we can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor.
That's the president of the United States.
At the time.
In
2020.
And now again.
And I am going to assume this was talking about the protests and riots that were happening in reaction to George Floyd.
Yeah, which is always the talking point, right? What about those protests? Well, this president, now in his second term, saying the opposite of what he's actually doing now in Los Angeles, sending hundreds of National Guard.
Thousands.
Yeah, thousands now, activating those National Guard. 2,000, is that the number? Something like that? Of California's National Guard members. So what do we think of when you're out there in Radio Land? What are you thinking about when you hear a president speak out of both sides of his mouth on an issue? I'm not surprised because, as I said, for at least the 8 years I've been doing radio, that's what politicians do. When it works to their advantage or their favor, they just say what they say. Back then, we can't do that. Now, when he needs to have that push, and there's a whole other side of this argument says maybe he needed to deflect a little bit because he's got some bad news lately with the whole Musk stuff.
That is the thing. It's like, think about where we were on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
And where we are on Tuesday.
Coincidence?
As far as this news cycle and what we're talking about and what we're not talking about.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And again...
But I don't want to be that dystopian, right? That instead of to shield the conversation and the main conversation being Musk and Trump fighting, that he would deploy, go against decades of precedent just to change the narrative. I don't want to be that dystopian.
Yeah.
Some people are going there, but I'm just saying it does feel like there is the tension is so high, and that they are waiting for someone to strike the match to justify these actions.
Yeah, they're setting them up, right, for bad things to happen, cheerleading for bad news. Again, not just decades of precedent, which it clearly is. His own words,
yeah.
4 years ago, first term, now second term, the exact opposite. I would say that's two-faced. I would say that's flip-flopping. Whatever terminology you want to use, that's not really being consistent. So all you defenders of this, what do you say to that? 855-616-1620. I'm not interested in phone calls. Send me a text. That's their words, not your words, Krista, not my words. That's what they said. Sean Hannity, Kristi Noem, Donald Trump. Oh, by the way, a little bit of Joe Biden. 11 seconds. This is what that president said about this issue.
Have the protests forced you to reconsider any of the policies with regard to the region?
No. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you think the National Guard should intervene?
No.
Pretty clear. Joe Biden, he said no. Quick break. Point taken.
All different types of injury lawyers advertise. Cartoon lawyers, bobblehead lawyers, and folks chasing ambulances with text messages. Our clients don't want or need such lawyers. Our clients know, like, and trust that Pasternak and Zergabel will help in their time of need. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are excellent personal injury lawyers in our community. If you need help after an injury, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com. That's injurywisconsin.com.
When it rains, it pours. But sometimes it hails. Or worse.
That tornado warning again is for Fond du Lac and Dodge County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now.
Keep us within reach for Fleet Farm Storm Team alerts.
Even if a tornado does not touch down, we know that there are powerful straight line winds.
On 620 WTMJ and WTMJ.com.
Lake Geneva. It's where families have been making memories around the water for generations. Lakeside resorts and spas, award-winning restaurants, and charming shops are just the beginning of an unforgettable summer getaway. Lake cruises, boating, and beach lounging let you soak up the sun, water, and family time. Hike a lakeshore path, stargaze from an iconic observatory, or soar above it all in a hot air balloon. Go ziplining, visit an animal safari, or see dancing horses. Start making your memories today at visitlakegeneva.com.
Summerfest is almost here.
Hey, the music.
Benson Boone.
The food.
Saz's sampler platter.
All the things that make Summerfest great, and we're going to send you
to all 9 days.
Hey, it's Summerfest on us.
Keep it tuned to WTMJ for your chance to win tickets to every single day of Summerfest.
We'll have your opportunity on our show, Wisconsin's Midday News, to go to Summerfest on us.
Happy Summerfest from all of us right here at WTMJ.
Ooh, very moody music, Jazz, to come back. So, obviously, the news of the week continues to be watching what's happening in California. Updates from yesterday was the Pentagon announced plans to deploy 700 Marines in Los Angeles. Now, I do want to have a little caveat here, because isn't at any given point like 42,000 troops at Camp Pendleton, as far as what does it actually mean to be ready to deploy? Aren't they kind of always ready to deploy?
Trained and ready to deploy.
Yeah, so I don't know how much that is a talking point versus if there's actually been action there. But the addition to that, this comes as California has also filed a lawsuit on Monday to block the administration's initial order to bring in the National Guard. Yesterday, President Trump answered in I think he was he walking to Air Force One? It looked like he was outside.
Yeah.
If the border czar, Tom Homan, should arrest Governor Gavin Newsom, and he said, I would, to which then Gavin Newsom said, you know where I am. So and Gavin Newsom's all over. This is kind of sometimes where he shines, when he can just fight with Stephen Miller at all on Twitter, which is a lot of what he was doing yesterday.
Yeah, also, I could be wrong on this, so correct me if I am. I thought I saw something from Tom Homan yesterday that said he's not interested in arresting the governor.
No.
So, again, that would be...
Gavin Newsom's kind of like the Regina George of Democrats, I feel like.
I think a lot of what Gavin Newsom's doing is, one, protecting his state, but two, running for office.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is the political side of this, beyond the actual ramifications of the people it's impacting, is... We all know that Gavin Newsom wants to run in 2028, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so this is a very high-profile showdown of strength, I would imagine, between him being the leader of his state and President Trump and the campaign promises, I guess, if you want to say that, that he is trying to deliver on. Because obviously we were all at the RNC and there was the signs that were mass deportation now. While certainly no one can deny that they have absolutely secured the border, and as resources move from securing the border to trying to, keep that promise of mass deportations. And I think the reality is there's maybe not as many criminals and bad guys to deport as there are people who are trying to get work at Home Depot, people who are showing up to their actual immigration hearings and trying to do it legally, and people who have been here for a very long time and aren't necessarily criminals. Yes, may be here undocumented, but if that's what it takes to hit these quotas, because we never really talked about it. Stephen Miller apparently in the last 2 weeks had a meltdown in front of ICE agents trying to impose like a 3,000 person quota.
Yeah. He's not balanced. He's not a balanced person. As far as I'm concerned,
and you can say that because you're not Terry Moran.
Yeah, I can say
because we have an opinion show instead of being journalists.
Could Carolyn Levitt hear this podcast and then call GKB and say, "I demand"?
No, I don't think we're held to the same standard as.
Really?
Well, you never claim that you're a journalist. I never claim that I'm
not a journalist.
I'm constantly having to correct people when they see my Journal Sentinel pieces, whether it's on social media or the opinion page of Journal Sentinel, that I am paid to give my opinion. I am not paid to report just the facts. I try to make my opinions based in facts, but that is not what I'm paid to do. I'm paid to give context and commentary.
Somebody, yes, we are, and paid well. Somebody said,
we'll have to talk about that afterwards.
I only speak for myself. Yeah. All right. So I know we got to get to break, but a texter made the point. Well, what should the president do? The president should create and maybe this happened yesterday by accident, but a calmer environment.
He should work with the governor and the mayor,
everybody together,
of the people who are closer to the situation at hand. Like I'm seeing the Chiron right now on CNN as Pete Hegseth yesterday in front of Congress saying, well, the LAPD said they needed help, so we sent help. As far as I understand, doesn't the head of the LAPD report to the mayor?
Yes,
right? That is the standard protocol of the hierarchy in local government, is that whoever is the police chief reports to the mayor. And so to go above the mayor and then the governor and say that is how the order of the hierarchy works doesn't seem right.
Let me put it this way. Destruction of property is not a protected right. It is not good, and it needs to be squashed, and however you do that. But again, there's a way to do that. Law enforcement has the tools and the equipment in most cases to do that. When you're talking about this issue, if you're complaining about these people in the country illegally, there's never been a clear process over the last few decades to make this work. We've argued about it politically. We've gotten nowhere. We've manufactured a crisis that is now coming to fruition because we have a president who wants to pick that scab. That's what's happening. All the rest of it is the same as it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. We just haven't done anything about it as far as the legal process to make these people, just like we've done over hundreds of years, part of our unique story and fabric of our country. That's the real issue. So be prepared to argue that or defend that if you're having the barstool conversations. That's the issue. Elected officials that we elect didn't do their damn jobs for the last 25 years when it comes to immigration policy and figuring this out. We're at where we're at because of that. Kristen, Steve, point taken, 620 WTMJ.
I'm Monica Kessler.
Monica makes sure that everything at Kessler's is worthy of a lifetime warranty.
The quality of your ring is incredibly important when it comes to diamond setting, ring sizing, and repairs.
Monica has been part of Kessler's since she was 6 years old.
Let me tell you how to judge the quality of the jewelry you're buying.
It's easier than you think.
All you have to do is read the warranty.
Most stores offer a 5-year warranty, but Kessler's offers a lifetime warranty, the strongest in the world.
We can do it because we put more gold in your jewelry.
When a jeweler wants to make a bigger profit, they put less gold into the jewelry. This makes it thinner and easier to break.
Theirs might look like ours at first glance, but Kessler's jewelry is made not to break, and that takes more gold.
We give you a lifetime warranty because our jewelry is made to last forever, just like your love.
Gold is more than $2,000 an ounce.
Kessler's gives you more gold, a lot more gold.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com.
This season's gift with purchase is at Merle Norman. Shop now and receive skincare favorites for hydrating face and lips, including trial sizes of Aqua Bliss cleansing lotion and moisturizer, daily moisture toner, and lip conditioner SPF 15. Shop while supplies last at Merle Norman Cosmetics and Salon at Brookfield Square. Free with the purchase of 2 or more Merle Norman cosmetic products. Cosmetic accessories not included. Offer valid while supplies last at participating Merle Norman Cosmetic Studios only. Limit 1 per customer. We reserve the right to modify the gift if needed. Promotion not available at merlenorman.com.
Well, if you need flagstone for your new natural patio, Erickson's is the place to find it. We have the largest selection and 15 styles to choose from. And for decorative stone, Erickson's is your best choice. Our decorative stone is trucked in from all over the country. We buy straight from the quarry and cut out the middleman to keep your prices nice and low. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. So he said to me, "Boy, oh boy, do you got the boulders." And I said, "You betcha." And he said, "Do you mind if I cherry pick?" And I said, "Feel free. They're all beautiful and they're all granite. Sparkling pinks, blues, and grays from 4 to 36 inches. And they're all priced right because we buy direct from the source nationwide to give you the look you want." Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Sighting Unlimited. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. At 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Hey, I'm going to tease something that I think is a really cool thing that one of our lucky fans and listeners can win in about a half hour. How would you like a pair of tickets for each day and night of Summerfest? All the great music, all the great food and fun and the experience of going to Summerfest, hanging out on the Great Lake. We're going to actually give away, what is it called? It's called a super PAC or something like that. I'm not getting it right. I should read my marketing emails.
Power Pack.
Power Pack.
Power Pack
Summerfest
giveaway.
Power Pack. At about, let's say, 10:56-ish, maybe a little earlier, we're going to give away a Power Pack for Summerfest. To one.
Coming.
It's coming. Yeah. This is the only day we're doing that, right? Because all the shows do it on different days. Yeah.
Well, that's Jaslyn. She'll correct us.
She's probably looking for music, for our...
Is there any shows that are coming that you're excited about? We can also talk about it later because we do want to wrap up the conversation around...
Yeah, I mean, I thank all the we have a lot of texts.
We have a lot of texts. And we have a lot of texts with people who don't agree with us, which
Yes.
we appreciate that you're listening. We appreciate your feedback. It's interesting because I feel like politically, where will this end up? Because it feels like the argument that we made at the beginning of the show, certainly the argument that a lot of Democrats are making, is that historically, this is an overreach, right? Like this is like I said yesterday, it was Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965 that deployed the National Guard against a governor's wishes in order to protect the people who were protesting, right? So this is like, but does that argument as far as democracy and overreach and like the boogeyman of authoritarianism, like does all of that fall flat? Because when it comes to immigration, that is obviously where Trump polls best. And certainly on the security border, it gets murkier when you start talking about mass deportation of people who are not criminals. But overall, I think the narrative for so long has been, do it legally. We hear it every day on the text line, right? As far as how people think about immigration and how they think about immigrants and how they think about people who are undocumented. And so it's like, does this, no matter how kind of intense it looks, it's like, well, what do you want him to do?
Yeah. And
like, does he win on this issue?
Right now he's winning because that's what people said when they voted for Donald Trump. It's a fascinating conversation. We've got to get to news here, but I will say this. Only one texter answered my question is, why the flip-flops? Why are they, changing your mind on this stuff? And I will answer it for them. It's politics, pure politics. That's all it is.
Or is it because there's a different makeup in the Pentagon now, right? I think because it wasn't in the first round of protests when it was in D.C., wasn't he the one who was like, we should just shoot them? And Milley and some other folks were like, no, we're not going to do that.
All right, got a break for news. Here's the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. The issue of the president sending the military to Los Angeles to handle protesters of immigration raids came up at the first of today's 3 congressional hearings for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Congresswoman Betty McCollum, Minnesota Democrat.
Active duty military has absolutely no role in domestic law enforcement, and they are not trained for those missions.
Hegseth responding.
As far as training, all of the units on the ground have been fully trained in their capabilities of what they're executing on the ground.
In a high school shooting in the Austrian city Graz today, 9 people were killed and at least 12 others injured, says the Austrian Interior Minister. Police say the shooter died by suicide in a bathroom in the school. He was a former student of the school and acted alone. Settling a lawsuit for nearly $30 million, Michigan State University and 3 surviving victims of the 2023 mass shooting on campus, say the lawyers. Trade talks continue today. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:31, 64 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee. I'm Greg Matzek. Another legal filing in the case of Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan, this time from prosecutors. The federal government response says that dropping charges would put judges above the law. Dugan is accused of helping an undocumented immigrant evade ICE agents at the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Her trial is set for July 21st. Federal authorities take over search operations for a Pewaukee native they say killed his 3 young daughters in Washington state last week. 32-year-old Travis Decker is still missing after the bodies of his daughters were found near a campground in central Washington on June 2nd. The Chelan County Medical Examiner confirms the girls were suffocated. New photos released by police show close-up of Decker's tattoos, ponytail hairstyle, and clothing he's been wearing recently. You can see those photos on our website at WTMJ.com. And tick bite-related visits to the emergency departments in Wisconsin are up slightly from this time over a year ago. The State Department of Health Services says there have been 79 visits for tick bites per 10,000 ED visits, according to data from last week of May. DHS says the uptick in bite visits could be caused by warmer winters as well as increased public awareness of tick-related illnesses such as Lyme's disease. Rates of Lyme's disease have tripled in Wisconsin over the past 15 years. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Some bouncing back and forth here. Up in the green about a half hour ago. The Dow is now lagging about 20 points at 42,741. NASDAQ is down about 3 points today, bouncing back and forth right at 19,588. S&P 500 up about 3 points, just over the 6,000 mark at 6,008. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite, financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads, the WTMJ Time Saver traffic update. Usual slowdown spots, 41, 45 southbound Good Hope to the Zoo interchange. About an 8-minute delay. It's going to run you 18 this morning. Construction begins and the slowdowns begin about 175. It'll take you through Burleigh. Northbound side, about a 4-minute delay. Construction and delays begin about Watertown Plank and start to break up a little bit around Hampton Avenue. Also seeing some delays if you're traveling northbound on 43. There was a crash off to the side of the road just north of Silver Spring. Looks like they're getting that out of the way right now and should free things up, but you are in a construction zone, so traffic is moving along a little slower than usual. About a 4-minute delay, 43 northbound from downtown up to the county line. A little bit of that wildfire haze in the forecast today. You're noticing it if you're looking up at the skies. Midday clouds, PM haze, high of 75. More clear skies tonight at a low of 63. Should see some sun on Wednesday, a little uptick in humidity and temperatures, a high of 83 degrees. There is a chance for some rain, maybe some storms in the evening. Right now it's 65 degrees in New Berlin, 61 in New Holstein, 61 in New Lisbon, and 63 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzek, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, approaching 10:35.
With over 57 years of experience, family-owned Yutka Fence installs high-quality fencing with residential options including vinyl, wood, aluminum, chain link, and ornamental fences. Committed to craftsmanship and customer service, Yutka Fence doesn't just build fences, they build relationships based on care, trust, precision, and protecting what matters most. Mention you're a WTMJ fan for 10% off your project. Schedule your free estimate today at yutkafence.com or call 262-859-3226.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. I hope you'll join me and Brian Jacobson, the chief economist for Annex Wealth Management, this Wednesday, June 11th at 9 a.m. as we dive into the markets, inflation, your 401k, and the economy. I know it's complicated and you have a lot of questions. Brian's got a lot of answers. This is a free webinar, but you need to register ahead of time. Go to WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or you can find it at AnnexWealth.com. It's Wednesday, June 11th, 9 a.m. Register today.
Why settle for just a job when you could have a career in the exciting automobile industry? I'm Jim Token, president of ADAM, the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. The 115-member new car dealers that make up ADAM have extremely desirable service, technician, sales, administrative, and management positions available now, with new ones opening up every day. Whether you're just getting out of school or considering a career change, the salary and benefits are fantastic, and the potential for advancement is unlimited. The first word in career is car, and one of the best places to find a great career opportunity is at an ADAM new car dealer. Live the life you've always imagined. What you do today can improve all your tomorrows.
Go to work happy when you go to work in the auto industry. For current great paying job opportunities, visit adam.jobs. That's ADAMM.jobs.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristen Bry, and he is Steve Scafidi. And we did have a text on the text line that said, aren't you a criminal if you come into this country illegally to start with? And I feel like we still want to get an immigration lawyer on here. I would love to have someone come on and talk about what does it mean to do it legally? But I did want to clarify this. So what does illegal actually mean? So under federal law, it is a crime for anyone to enter into the U.S. without the approval of an immigration officer. It's a misdemeanor offense that carries fines and no more than 6 months in prison. So this is someone who's sneaking over the border.
Right.
However, many, many people enter the country legally on valid work and travel visas and then end up overstaying for a variety of reasons. Now, an example of this, when I was living in New York, I dated a guy who was French. He had a green card. Many of his French friends did not. And they had come here on travel visas and then just stayed. So in those situations, that is not a violation of federal criminal law. It's a civil violation that gets handled in immigration court proceedings. So it's a civil violation, as is jaywalking, as is a lot of things that are civil, not criminal offenses. So this is a really old study, but back in 2006, there was a study that showed around 45% of undocumented immigrants originally entered the U.S. legally and then remained in the country without authorization after their visas had expired. So that's when people say just being in the country undocumented is not necessarily a criminal offense. So the violation for that is deportation, but it's not, but there still is due process that you were awarded with that.
Yeah, that's. I think that's where the disconnect's happening because people just say criminal. And they go, well,
it's a blanket statement, and I think that's what I mean. It seems like, and this is like a couple weeks ago when I asked Bill about referring to people as the entire group as illegals. And it's a very broad stroke to talk about a group of people who are here and got here in a variety of different ways.
There's actually some famous people who have famously overstayed their visas. Salma Hayek, actress.
Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Turned out to be a pretty good actor and governor of California. Melania Trump, at the beginning, overstayed her visa. And Michael J. Fox, I think he's a Canadian citizen.
Okay.
Yeah. Do they want to put them in prison? Try putting Arnold in prison. That'd be...
I did not know Arnold overstayed his visa.
Yeah.
Surprised that didn't come up in his any of his campaigns for governor.
And somebody didn't do their research.
Fun fact about that: I was there when my first year I lived in California was during the recall. And then when they elected Arnold Schwarzenegger, I remember a lot of people in Wisconsin being like, what's happening in this state that you guys just moved to?
In that nutty state.
And he actually turned out to be a pretty decent governor.
I'm still a fan. I mean,
I think that's the last Republican governor California had, right?
I think so, yeah.
Not that long ago.
He had some problems at the end, but human nature.
Most powerful men, fallible.
Go ahead.
I can say they're just, not perfect people.
Let's have a clean break. I want to take a break, but after the break, you and I did we've done a couple episodes, going to be gone for a while, of our very popular podcast, You Need to Listen. And the next one has to do with sort of political empathy involving the Christian right and others, including the name that gets mentioned a lot on the show, Elon Musk.
We'll pose this to the listeners right now.
Yeah.
Is empathy a weakness, or even more so, is empathy a sin? Give us a text, 855-616-1620, and we'll talk about that after this on Point Taken.
What's wrong, Ben? Nicole can read my mind, Arvid. What?
We were talking about the optionizable Ashton recliner at Penny Mustard.
I said I'd like it in leather, and she said...
Done.
I suggested a different leg color, and she said...
Done.
Spooky.
Look, I don't think Nicole can really read your mind.
Well, not anymore. That's why I'm wearing this tinfoil hat.
It smells fishy.
I wrap my lunch in it.
The Ashton recliner, starting at $28.70 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Committee for Milwaukee weight loss. Yes, I've been on the journey for over 4 months, lost 40 pounds. It's the secret, by the way, to losing 1 pound of fat per day. Now, there's different phases, reduction phase, maintenance phase. I'm in the maintenance phase now. Their doctors developed easy-to-follow weight loss program. I could follow it. You certainly can. Helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely. No drugs or injections, all natural. No risk of serious side effects. None of the gimmicky stuff, the meals, bars, shakes. You don't even have to exercise, but I always encourage people to walk at least 10,000 steps a day. Their program helps reset your metabolism. That's what it did for me. You can keep the weight off for good with a coach. They're outstanding out at Milwaukee Weight Loss. Their program costs up to half as much. Yes, half as much. And this is the cool part. Works up to twice as fast as most other programs. If you have a wedding or a trip, something you want to lose weight for, and change your life, basically, go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com, schedule your free consultation. Many patients, 20 to 30-pound weight loss. I did it. You can do it. Schedule your free consultation today by calling 262-449-1180 or go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
My name is Emma. I'm 25 years old, and I work at the Wisconsin Athletic Club. And I just love what I do here because I feel like I helped a lot of people. I hope that other kids can have a goal that they can move out and live independently too. I've had all these opportunities because somebody said yes to me.
Live life to the fullest with Thinkability Wisconsin, a resource hub that supports people with disabilities throughout their lives. Connect with a real-time navigator at thinkabilitywi.org today.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. The big focus in America today is on your health, right? So why aren't you feeling any better? Your knees always hurt, your shoulders keep you from exercising, and you're done with all the pills and the steroids, and you cringe at the thought of surgery. You've done everything, but the pain is always there. It's exhausting. This is when you got to call QC Kinetics. It's revolutionary treatment. It works to give your body long-term relief. Regenerative treatments takes your body's own healing power and helps and restore your damaged tissue. Call QC Kinetics today and get yourself a free sit-down. Talk to Dr. Justine Bennon. She's great. I've met with her. You can walk through the process with her. She explains it in a way that's understandable, and she can do the same for you. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today and get your life back. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, reminding you to double-check your home. Siding Unlimited is the proven exteriors professionals for 31 years. Family-owned and locally operated right here in Wisconsin. Call Siding Unlimited and visit sidingunlimited.com.
Give a little bit, or give a little bit of your love to
Supertramp and a good message. I mean, we love doing our podcast. You need to listen. I think we're on episode 11 now.
Well, then it's not out yet. We have
tomorrow.
No,
Thursday. Yeah, Thursday's.
We have one Thursday, and then it's every other Thursday. So we have Thursday, and then the Thursday right when you get back from your trip.
So this one had to do with you share with me as sort of a national conversation about the Christian right and what they're saying about empathy.
So I didn't realize. So I think it made news when Elon Musk went on Joe Rogan and was saying that empathy is a weakness. I think that made headlines. What I did not realize is that it started as far back as like 6 years ago in parts of evangelical Christianity and certain pastors saying that empathy is a sin.
Yeah, I'm glad you said certain and not all.
Not all. But there was, as someone already texted in, Toxic Empathy is a great book. I had not heard of that. But Toxic Empathy, How Progressives Exploit Christian Compassion, written by conservative pundit Allie Beth Stuckey. So there is more happening. And I actually literally just this morning, as we decided we're going to talk about this in addition to the podcast, I saw a picture in Atlanta on the corner of Ponce and North Highland from the Church of Ponce and North Highland on their little board outside the church that you can change the letters on that says, no, empathy is not a sin, sigh. So this is a conversation that is happening. And we dove into it into our podcast, but I think it's just interesting because it feels like it feels so much of even the conversation we were having in the first half of this show today, or the first half hour of the show, of where do you fall when you see, like, even goes to the point I made yesterday when I posted about going to Pride. Like, Pride was so much fun. It's so much fun. It is fun to me. It is fun to have empathy. It is fun to be open-minded. It is fun to be understanding of other people. Like, it is more fun to go through life liking people until they give you a reason not to like them through their character and their actions than assuming ill intention or they're bad people based on certain boxes that they check. Yeah, so let me define empathy, just so people are all on the same page. It's the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. That's all it is, or a group of people. So I'm glad you just said what you just said, because one of the things I've learned in my long life is that often when I don't know a group of people or a person, I only know what people say about them or their group. I don't really know them. And I've used this example before, but the Sikh community, I didn't know a lot about them. I knew what they were in our community, but I didn't know them at all. And then I realized because of an unfortunate incident, that I was going to get to know them. I realized they were some of the most compassionate, kind, loving people that I could ever have met in my life. And I say that today, all those years later, 13 years later, having gone through all of that. When you meet somebody and you don't other them, like you're treating it like people, the gays, or whatever you're saying about people. When you other them, you're disrespecting them. You're not having empathy towards their life story. You're not understanding. Anyone who's faced any of these situations where you meet someone for the first time that's different than you have a conversation. You realize, you know what? They're just like they had the same problems, same family stuff. They got the crazy uncle. They got, to use an extreme example, they have the same issues that we all have. There's no difference. The color of your skin, how you pray, what your gender is, all of these things are not the factors that make life worth living. It's understanding the diversity of all of us. And this is what frustrates the hell out of me when it comes to how we have taken now politics and sort of said, well, you can't understand the other side. They're the enemy. We have to own that side. We have to destroy that side. I love Bill McCoshen, but, destroying the other side is part of what he does every day. We don't want the liberals. We don't want the Democrats to win any election in this state or in this country. I understand the mindset. People are paid to do things. But it's a dangerous mindset when it comes to actually accomplishing things that make this country, and more importantly, all of us, better people. That's what frustrates the hell out of me about this stuff. But I also think it's just like, so I think about this sometimes with GoFundMe, right? Like GoFundMe, which is now the de facto healthcare for thousands of people who face medical crises and then can't afford to pay it because their insurance denies them. So, but I mean, who among us hasn't donated to a GoFundMe campaign when people have some kind of tragedy that happens in their life and there's an individual story that speaks to you? Now, at the same time, I also understand you can't donate to every GoFundMe. And so in our own brains, we pick and choose what we have more compassion for to get us to move, to get us to go to a protest, as we were talking about yesterday. But that's something that isn't necessarily that impacts us personally, but because we have empathy, we go put our body on the line potentially. We donate our money, we donate our time, we donate our compassion because we feel like we want to help someone, something that isn't necessarily immediately impacting us. And I don't know if the point here is to be more selective in, like, the point being for people who are saying that there's toxic empathy or that empathy can be a sin or how it gets exploited, because you have to pick and choose how empathetic you can be to how many different groups because it is a finite resource. I guess I don't really understand the argument of like how it's getting exploited beyond the point that you can't just constantly live with your heart outside your chest for everyone who is suffering in the world.
Yeah, I just don't get it. And I understand there's money to be made in the friction between parties and people and the elected officials and all that. I get how it works. I've worked in this industry for 8 years now. It's not accomplishing what I think people wanted to accomplish, which is a better country. We are seeing things happening right now that we haven't seen in a long time, sort of the unrest that's out there brewing and rights taken away from people.
But it feels like we've been doing this for almost 10 years, doesn't it?
Well, we have been.
I mean, even if you go back to Missouri and like before, I mean, obviously that was like 4 years. Was that 2014? Why am I blanking on his name?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The guy who got killed in Michael Brown.
Okay.
Right? And like since then, it's felt like there has been protest and unrest for, it feels like a significant portion of my adult life. And I don't know if that's because I just pay attention to the news more, but when you say recently, like what's your timestamp on that?
I'm 10 years, last 10 years. There's always been protests. I mean, I'm old enough to remember,
of
as
course.
a kid, 68 and all that stuff and everything after that.
Like, did you feel like the 80s
Vietnam.
and 90s were calmer?
Maybe, but I lived in San Francisco in the mid '80s, and it wasn't calm at all. It was the rise of AIDS, and it was a messy time politically. The assassination of Harvey Milk, all that stuff. I remember all those things, and so we've had this conflict. I guess my point of and why I wanted to do this podcast on this subject is, what are we doing here? So because we have to justify the political reason to hate someone, we're actually thinking that out loud, or a pastor saying that empathy is a sin. That's just irritating on so many levels. It's just stupidity. Don't be that person.
What would Jesus not do?
Yeah, what would Jesus not do? That's a great line. And if you're one of those people who, I've said this before, if you forget what the message is that your pastor, your faith leader gave you in church, as soon as you leave your place of worship, why are you even going? Because you live most of your life outside of that place of worship. You might want to rethink the calculation there. First of all, you're not listening, unless you're listening to one of these extreme pastors who are, frankly, missing the point completely. It's empty-headed nonsense. All right. We need callers.
We do. We're giving the power pack.
Yeah,
the Summerfest.
Yeah, 855-616-1620. Let's go caller 12.
Ooh, hi.
Yeah, let's go high. 12. 855-616.
Giving people a chance.
1620. You'll win a
power pack.
Pair of tickets for every day of the 9 days of Summerfest. The power pack.
That is wild. That's a good deal.
I want that.
I don't know if you're eligible.
I don't think so. She's Chris and I'm Steve. Point taken.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
How do you get pee out of an old mattress?
Well,
I'm asking for a friend.
The best way to remove urine from a mattress is to trade in that old mattress for a new Beautyrest or Sealy Posturepedic.
But that'll cost a lot of money.
Not at Hasselus Mattress. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king. And that's on top of our everyday low prices.
Come on, everybody says lowest prices.
Others sell a Sealy Posturepedic Queen Emeryville A mattress for $12.68. Hasselus sells it for $10.34. But through Monday, it's just $7.86. And check out the low prices on Beautyrest and more. Plus, free next day delivery.
What does my friend do with his old soaked mattress?
We haul it away for pee.
What was that?
Sorry, I meant for free.
Sure you did.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
All types of injury lawyers advertise. Cartoon lawyers, bobblehead lawyers, and folks chasing ambulances with text messages. Our clients don't want or need such lawyers. Our clients know, like, and trust that Pasternak and Zergabel will help in their time of need. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak and Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are excellent personal injury lawyers in our community. If you need help after an injury, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com. That's injurywisconsin.com.
He told us to load 4 yards into his 8-foot bed, but we knew that 3 full, honestly measured yards were going to fill his truck bed to the rim. After we proved that, he told us the other guys have been telling him he's been getting 4 yards in there for years. Honest measurements and honest folks who just want to do you right. So you come back. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. We did the math. When you buy bagged mulch from the big guys, you pay $50 a yard. Why pay more for inferior mulch? When you buy from Erickson's, you'll get premium mulch for almost half the cost. And you'll see that even our economy mulch is better, for less than half the cost of bag mulch. And either choice is made with premium colorant that lasts longer. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Acumen Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from Accunet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
Spring is in the air, the perfect time to kickstart those home improvement dreams. Hi, Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. They're your local experts in stylish, energy-efficient upgrades. Boost your curb appeal and add real value with top brands like Pella, Anderson, Marvin, and more. All customized to fit your home and your style. Wood, vinyl, or fiberglass, they've got it all. And their newly remodeled New Berlin showroom is the place to start. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. Visit hometownwindows.com today.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Congrats to George from Muskego, winner of our Summerfest Power Pack. That's 9 days of Summerfest, a pair of tickets each day. That's a nice win.
You didn't answer now. Are you going to go to, are there any shows that you're looking forward to seeing?
I never go to a specific show. I just go to Summerfest.
You just go to hang out?
Yeah, because Kathy and I usually go in the afternoon, so we don't usually leave by 6 or 7.
All right.
I have seen the big shows on occasion, but that's not why I go to Summerfest. I just love to hang out. Sit by the rocks. Have a
Sazza sampler.
Always good. Awesome. There was a great text. I just want to sort of go back a little bit. We're talking about empathy, and if you can please check it out, because it's a great podcast that Chris and I have started a couple months ago now, called You Need to Listen. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
If you text LISTEN to 855-616-1620, we'll send you the show page link, and you can bookmark it, because the new episode on empathy comes out on Thursday.
Real quick, because we got to get to break for news. As a special ed teacher, this is from the 414, I work with a guidance counselor to teach empathy to school bullies, as it is a central, I'm assuming they mean theme, to their actions. Once they realized how others felt when they were bullied, the bullies were usually diminished and the school atmosphere was positively affected. Starts with a conversation. One-on-one, always beneficial, regardless of how you are or what you are going in. Almost always shaped by an individual conversation. Great first hour.
Good first hour,
What's
man.
What's the second hour going to be? Woo! Kristen, Steve, point taken.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority. They are your premium provider for eye care and corrective eye surgeries. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Dr. Nausheen Abbas joined the Holtebeck Eye Center team last September, and her practice philosophy is to provide patient-centered medicine by giving all options. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
A buck in today's world doesn't go far unless you're spending it at Griffin. Because for just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. Buy one or a whole set. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand. We'll put you in new tires for just $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. That's right, $1 over cost, and we'll even show you the invoice to prove it. So what's the catch? There's really no catch. You don't have to buy a car or a truck from us. We'd like it if you did, but our only requirement is we put them on for you. Buy one, two, or a set of 4. The $1 deal at Griffin. Available at Griffin Chrysler Jeep South, 27th Street and Jefferson. Griffin Ford, Waukesha, and Fort Atkinson. 5 ways to make your dollar go further. Griffin, the buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. $1 over cost. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with any other tire offers.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. I hope you'll join me and Brian Jacobson, the chief economist for Annex Wealth Management, this Wednesday, June 11th at 9 a.m. as we dive into the markets, inflation, your 401k, and the economy. I know it's complicated and you have a lot of questions. Brian's got a lot of answers. This is a free webinar, but you need to register ahead of time. Go to WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or you can find it at AnnexWealth.com. It's Wednesday, June 11th, 9 a.m. Register today.
Artwork, especially original artwork, can be pricey. But when you take it in on consignment from nice people like you who are just ready to change the look of their home, you can price it right. And you'll find a lot of it at Design Exchange. Beautiful frame pieces by a number of notable artists. And new ones pop in all the time. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Now these tend to fly off the shelves. But don't worry, because our connection supplies us with a lot of them. Vintage ceiling tiles from once great old buildings in New York City that make for ultra-unique artwork. These items are definitely hard to find from anywhere else around here. So come take a look, and you'll probably find a treasure. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
The Braves are back in Milwaukee.
The mighty Braves from Milwaukee.
But now is no time to revel in the past.
Durbin, a drive, left center, deep. See you later.
Our Brewers-Braves game day coverage starts tonight at 6:05. We are the home of the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 11:01. Today, midday clouds, a high of 75. Tomorrow, mostly clear, low of 63. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm John Mercure. A Milwaukee mother whose son was poisoned by lead says she's now concerned for her girls.
Shy McElroy got her son's diagnosis when he was 5. Fast forward, he's 18 and still dealing with the consequences of lead poisoning. Now McElroy is concerned for her girls, 7-year-old twins, both students at Milwaukee Public Schools, a district dealing with its own lead crisis.
One of them has had elevated lead levels, and can I attribute that to my home or to the school? I'm scared, and it's like deja vu all over again.
She says her daughters had perfect attendance until she learned about the lead issues at MPS.
Is that what our society has come to? Their parents have to make that decision. Okay, well, maybe you won't get a dose of lead poison today, so you can stay home.
Jessica Tighe, WTMJ News.
A shooting at a school in Austria has killed at least 9, and the suspected gunman is dead. CBS's Holly Williams.
Austria's interior minister says that the suspect in the attack was a former student at the secondary school where the shooting took place, but did not graduate. The Austrian police say the suspect was a 21-year-old Austrian man who they believe acted alone. They say he used 2 guns during the attack and later killed himself at the scene.
The Austrian chancellor has declared 3 days of national mourning. Another legal filing in the case of Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan, this time from prosecutors. The federal government says dropping charges would put judges above the law. Dugan's accused of helping an undocumented immigrant evade ICE agents at the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Last month, Dugan's defense filed a motion to dismiss her indictment of federal obstruction charges. And another round of Canadian wildfire smoke moving into Wisconsin. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Tyler Moore.
We do have a little bit of that smoke and haze this morning. More will build in out of the west as we get into this afternoon. So expect some hazy conditions to linger not only for today, but also into tomorrow as well.
Your complete WTMJ 5-day forecast is coming up. Checking your markets, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green. The NASDAQ is up 49. The Dow up 24. The S&P at this hour is up 16 points. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 46 to 48 ounce selected varieties Blue Bunny Dairy Dessert, 2 for $7. 8.2 to 20 ounce selected varieties CPAC Seafood, $6.99. 7 to 15 ounce selected varieties Rana Pasta or Sauce, 2 for $7. 2 to 6 count selected varieties Northern Bath or Brawny Towels, $6.99.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers.
Safe. Okay. Ooh, pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
While you're just fighting to stay relevant,
Do you know who I am?
No, I can't say that I do.
let's see how you fare outside your element.
He's a fly ball right field. Benson back at the track. Wall. Bye-bye baseball. Jackson Churio quiet no more.
The Brewers host the Braves for a 3-game series. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6:05. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Healthy joints, healthy lifestyle. Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Arthritis, injuries, wear and tear, common joint issues that keep you from doing what you love. At OAW, a visit to the doctor doesn't always mean surgery. Everyone is different. Surgeons, nurses, physical therapists work together to come up with a plan for you. Maybe it's PT, medication, injection, and if you do need surgery like I did, you know you're in the best of hands. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. Book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Day one of a mandatory minicamp for the Packers, and the Brewers look to bounce back after a Monday night loss to the Braves. Coverage of tonight's Brewers game begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. All right, let's check out those roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. A couple minor issues south of the city. Disabled vehicle on the exit to Rawson Avenue from 4194 north, so be careful there. Also, a disabled vehicle on the exit from 7684th Street from 41894 east. Your 5-day forecast. Today, midday clouds, a high of 75. Tomorrow, mostly clear, a low of 63. Wednesday, sunny during the day, rainy at night, a high of 83. Thursday, chance for more rain, a high of 65. Friday, mostly cloudy, 64. And on Saturday, cloudy, high of 74 degrees. Right now in Madison, cloudy skies and 64. In Green Bay, cloudy and 62. In Milwaukee, partly cloudy and 63 degrees. I'm John Mercure, Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 11:07.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scafidi and Kristen Bry.
Indeed, indeed. We are back for the 11 o'clock hour. Good first hour. Where are we going to go from here? You think it'll be as good as the first hour, Steve?
I'm going to make some people mad.
Oh.
Which is always...
I feel like you do that almost daily.
Probably. Well, if you read my email, yes, certainly.
Oh, I got a very angry email yesterday.
I saw your response.
From someone who did not want to sign their name.
Yeah. First of all, you're a coward if you don't sign your name. And I'm never going to take any opinion you have seriously if there's not a name on it. So all those trolls, I could care less.
I try to stick to that on social media. If you don't have your real name or an actual picture of yourself, I'm not going to engage with your comment. But I don't always stick to that rule.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And look,
I
get how it works. We get a little feisty sometimes. We want to, you want to nudge when people push. Whatever. This is one of those topics, though, that I care very deeply about, and I feel very strongly about it. And it goes back to having guests that were actual medical experts, not like internet medical experts, which there's far too many of those. And
big wellness, man, a lot of money in it.
Yeah,
big wellness, much much bigger industry than big pharma. But go ahead.
I'm going to preface it by saying, just because a scientist says it doesn't mean it's always going to be perfect and at some point won't be challenged. That's not what I'm saying. But I think you're an idiot if you don't realize after 100 years or whatever it's been that vaccines are effective in a lot of different ways, including serious diseases, like polio and measles and a lot of other things. And I saw the news yesterday because he announced it. It's the Health and Human Services Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., basically whacked, my term, all 17 members of the CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, their advisory committee for vaccines. He's going to replace them with new members. Now, what do? They make recommendations for the efficacy of and safety of said vaccines. But they don't approve them. They just make the approval comes from the Food and Drug Administration. So separation. So first off, this is not the be-all, end-all if he thinks it is. And knowing RFK Jr. only from his public comments, it wouldn't surprise me if he hasn't dug deep on this. My fear is, as a U.S. citizen, as a father, as a grandfather, that this sort of thing makes us less safe and increases the risk in this country, in this state, and in our communities, that more people will get sick, more people will die. And it might have been in a news break, maybe it was something else that I heard today about the rise in measles in West Texas and how this has become deadly. Now, it's not a pandemic level event yet, but it is concerning. And what I really, really get worried about is the impact on Wisconsin, because at the highest level, we used to be one of the best states for vaccination in the 90s. I think we got as high as 95%, maybe higher. And we have fallen. I think we're the third lowest.
We're really low right now.
Yeah.
For kindergartners, for as far as when it comes to for children, yeah.
In a very short number of years, we've gone from the best to the worst, bottom 5. Why do you think that is? What's going on here?
I mean, in the times that I've talked to different doctors and epidemiologists about this, it's a lot of it is with misinformation. Misinformation dies hard, right? And it doesn't help that we now have more vaccine skeptics in positions of power. And I also think people are, this is, again, in how quickly the news cycles move. But what was it, a month ago? As far as RFK's autism, he was going to start collecting the role of have everyone with autism and be able to document it and because we're going to have an answer of the cause of it.
Not just investigate, have an answer, which he didn't do.
And I do, I think it is also preying upon people's both fears and desire for some explanation for health outcomes of their children. Right? I'm sure that there are parents who have children who are autistic, some, a lot not, but some do, who want some kind of justification, right? As far as why did this happen? Why did this happen to my child?
Completely understand that.
And so I think that they're in a fear of not knowing the right thing to do and believing the wrong people. There's people who do believe that vaccines cause more harm than prevention. And that gets to the next question as far as what can be done and what should be done to counteract that. Is this up to public health campaigns or is it up to regulation and legislation?
I think we're going to need both, because clearly parents have decided in many cases at a higher and higher level they don't want their kids to be vaccinated. We've made it sort of easier in the state of Wisconsin. There's certainly people looking at why that is. But Kennedy said yesterday he's restoring the public trust. Is that what he's doing? Because I don't see that. If you're going to take what was a pretty smart group of people who are looking, again, not approving, recommending vaccines, doing the hard homework to recommend or not recommend in some cases whether we should have these vaccines for these diseases. I don't know that you're restoring anything, because if you put conspiracy theorists on that group, which is, again, my take, it was what he's going to do, people who have made connections that are not scientifically proven, and there's no link between vaccines and autism. That's been dispelled
many times.
But that still lingers out there, and I every time on three or four iterations of my show before, I would have people text me, "Yeah, there's a link. I see it." Really? Just because you say things, just because you read them on the internet, does not make them true. And every professional medical person that I've had on the program, and I've had the highest level at Freighter and other hospitals, tell me that there's just no link here. But yet these things persist, including from now the individual who's in charge of all of this stuff, who oversees not just the sort of the direction and really importantly the communication of these departments and these agencies, but also picks the people who are part of them. That's the concern for me. I'd love to hear, again, texts are fine, 855-616-1620. I'm worried about this. I'm vaccinated. I get flu vaccine. I got the COVID vaccines. I got the shingles, the double one for shingles. I sort of listened to my doctor who recommended those vaccines. I've had two doctors now because one retired. I listen to what my doctors say. I don't go online and search for experts. I don't listen to what a U.S. senator says about what I should do with vaccines because, frankly, they're mostly idiots. They're not really medical professionals unless I'm missing something on their resume. They're not medical professionals. Just because they had a hearing on it does not make you an informed medical professional. Is that a tough take? I don't care. I'm worried about it. Quick break?
Quick break.
The leader in the dugout, the skipper, the man who riles up the crew with his words of inspiration.
You mean my old ass? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's our guy. Brewers manager Pat Murphy joins Wisconsin's Morning News every Tuesday at 8:45 for Brewers 360.
We're a team that the other team's going to feel us. You're not going to walk away from a series and not be felt. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
Hey, the big focus in America today is on your health, and you're determined to look beyond the pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? I want to talk to those of you who are in pain right now. Or maybe it's someone you love. You've done everything they told you to do. The pain just comes back. You're exhausted, but you don't give up. Hey, it's WTMJ Steve's giving you for QC Kinetics. They're different. They're not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You meet face-to-face with their medical directors, Dr. Ashley Caravelli. I'm meeting with her in a couple weeks, and her team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps restore your damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, many of them right here in Milwaukee. They'd be honored to help you as well. No masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. You can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. The consultation is free. With appointments, just call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
Ready for more fun? More friendships? More adventures?
Then it's time to become a Girl Scout.
Explore the outdoors, meet forever friends, and make a difference in your community. Sign up for our extended year membership today. Girls can join for $98 and adults for $42. Start in April and enjoy up to 5 extra months of fun. The extended year membership is April 1st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026, followed by a regular membership year. So what are you waiting for?
Join us and be a Girl Scout.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristen. He is Steve. And just to follow up on why Wisconsin now has lower rates as far as vaccination goes and how it's dropped over time from being one of the best to now being one of the worst when it comes to kindergartners having the MMR vaccination. And so one of the reasons, and this goes back to what I said before, is it public health campaigns or is it regulation? Because all states have exemptions that allow parents not to have their children vaccinated. Medical and religious reasons are usually the most common. But in Wisconsin, we have a third waiver. So Wisconsin regulations say the Wisconsin Department of Health Services shall provide a waiver for health reasons if a physician certifies an immunization, quote, is or may be harmful to the health of the student, or if the parent of a minor student or an adult student submits a signed statement that declares an objection to immunization on religious or personal conviction grounds. So basically,
That's everything.
Personal grounds,
That's
you can just say, I don't want my kid vaccinated, and that's enough. You don't have to prove a religious, you don't have to prove any kind of health issue. So it opens the door for more people to have a reason to say, I'm not going to immunize my kid. And now there is Representative Lisa Subeck from Madison is one of the lawmakers who introduced legislation in 2023 to repeal the personal conviction waiver. So this comes back to, if we agree that public health campaigns to combat misinformation is not enough in order to protect our children, does there need to be regulation, i.e., revoking this waiver, this third personal waiver?
I think there should be. I get the religious one. It's been well documented across this country for many, many years. Many people have a religious exemption to a lot of different things that they can actually formally apply.
Blood transfusions, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
No problem. Put me on the list. No problem. But when you make it so vague that people can be, their brain can be washed with misinformation and disinformation, basically people just opt out without having any of the knowledge needed. And I would argue, and this is anecdotal, I'll tell you that right now, many people don't get the advice, professional advice of their doctors, and they just basically say, no, my kid's not getting vaccinated. What was in the story that you attached? Was it 44% in Vernon County of kids are vaccinated? Are we serious? 44%. And so I haven't got one yet, but I usually get a natural immunity.
And it's under 70% in 14 other counties in Wisconsin.
Which is horrific because to get the real protection, you need plus
over
90.
Yeah,
or 85, whatever.
85,
yeah. What are we doing here? This is dangerous stuff, and we cannot live in back to the natural immunity thing. People say nature will take care of you. I said this before, and I'm not saying for any reason other than to prove a point. I'm a director of a cemetery, volunteer director of a cemetery. Many of the deaths in the early days of the cemetery, which is the late 1800s, were children. Over and over again, in the same family. How'd that natural immunity work then? They were dying of measles and other ailments that we may not have even been aware of yet. How'd that work out? That's natural immunity for you. It just kills kids. You good with that? If you don't think, and I know this is a strong point, and again, you can send me a text. You can email me at steve.scafidi, 2Fs1D at WTMJ.com. Email away.
You're like Gavin Newsom. You know where to find me.
You know where to find me. And they don't hesitate finding me. This is insanity. We have to do better. We're not going to see kids suffer because parents, who are supposed to be better than that, are following lunatics' advice and not listening to the people that actually know what they're talking about. I respect science. Always going to be the case. That opinion is not changing. I think more people need to listen to the science and not less, which is what's happening, given the numbers we're talking about. That's what pisses me off today.
Fired up. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a minute on Point Taken.
The Brewers Radio Network salutes all those who serve or have served our country.
This is WTMJ producer Jocelyn Snell, and I would like to shout out my grandfather, Sylvester Kocher, who served in the Pacific in World War II, and my uncle, Thomas Snell, who served in Vietnam. There is not a day that goes by when I don't think about the service they did for our country.
Salute the Troops is sponsored by Discount Liquor, Mission 94 Firearms Education Center, and Great Midwest Bank.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scafidi for Abbott. Snoring issues, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. Don't put up with that. I didn't. I did something about it. Before I ever was a spokesperson, I went to Abbott. Walked in, asked my questions. They asked me questions. We did a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. Easy. They put me at ease. They answered my questions. And they figured out for me, and everybody's different problems, different solutions, with sinuses, nasal passages in my breathing triangle. After a short procedure done in office, since that moment, breathing better than ever, and more importantly, sleeping through the whole night. You want to wake up feeling rested and refreshed, not bother or irritate your bed partner by the incessant snoring and tossing and turning. Talk to Advent. Find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better. Go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Here's to experiencing it all this summer in Wisconsin. Every deliciously cheesy, rockin', magical, fireworks-filled, festival-loving moment. There's Cheese Curd Fest in Ellsworth, Strawberry Fest in Cedarburg, Festival of the Arts in Stevens Point, and the Renaissance Fair in Bristol, Honor the Earth Powwow in Hayward, Mile of Music in Appleton, Venetian Fest, Bratfest, Summerfest. So many fests for your whole crew. Find them all at travelwisconsin.com.
There's nothing out there close to this.
Really tight show today, by the way. I'm giving you praise.
Why me?
Well, because I think you've been on your game today. Not that you were off your game. You weren't feeling well last week.
There was a couple weeks where I felt off my game.
I know,
I'm going to be totally honest. I think I was mispronouncing things, bylaws versus bylines. Now it feels some of my recall and retention has come back a little bit.
But the cool thing about this relationship on the show is that we pick up each other's slack. Like if somebody's like, I've had shows where I said to you, I think I was not on my game today. And by the way, to Dennis out there, my pal Dennis, who I'll be traveling to Scotland with, along with his lovely wife Stacy and all the rest of the crew, and actually Rose Gray's going to join us a bit later in the show, said the show is brilliant.
Ooh.
I'm paraphrasing. And that we should go national.
I think we should go national.
Yeah.
Talk to Craig Karmazin about that.
Yeah. Hey, Craig.
Just start putting us on all the ESPN stations across the country and people tuning in and be like, what is this?
What's the hashtag on that? You certainly have to change your subject matter.
Hashtag more points.
More point taken, yeah. More PT. Real quick, we've talked a lot on the show about the tariffs, the impact on tariffs, sort of the pricing part of this. But sort of the takeaway in this quick little segment here is that since the sort of tariff war began with China, imports
down
34.5%. That's a third, more than a third of it. I asked the question, how can we not see higher prices,
Have you felt
empty
it?
shelves? I don't buy stuff. See, that's the difference. But I'm aware of people who buy stuff, and my daughters tell me because they are shoppers and consumers that they're feeling it already.
Yeah.
So when I hear that,
Which is interesting because they're in a tax bracket that
they're doing well.
Yes. And so, because I would agree that we don't really buy that much stuff. Like, I'm not really a big shopper. For anyone who watches the YouTube stream might know that I wear the same clothes very often. But
might you feel it, though, at like Christmas time or when you start buying things for other people?
Probably. But things have also just felt expensive for a while. Food's felt expensive for a while. But I think if shelves actually end up being
that's the kicker,
emptier, I think there's not that people shouldn't be complaining if prices go up, whether it's inflation, whether it's tariffs, whatever, especially if you are much more aware about your budget. But I think it's visibly, if shelves are empty, people will notice.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that's sort of been alleviating some of the pain as I was researching this, apparently China is just doing an end around. So instead of shipping directly, they go to another country who doesn't have the same, tariffing pep, and then they come to the U.S.
So how does that end up working as far as
It looks like a non-Chinese import to the country versus a Chinese import to the country. So
it's through different. I just don't know, where.
I think Tunisia was one of the. It's like all these different countries that are just sort of.
Isn't there? Now I'm going to show my ignorance. No, not the rules. Isn't there like a basic 10%?
Yeah,
tariff,
but it's not
basically everywhere right now.
It's not like 50% or 40%, so a lot less. So obviously, the math works in their favor. I expect this to show up, and we'll bring Leo Krenz on. I think he was on when you were off.
He was.
He's an import-export guy, and just that he's really knowledgeable about the rules of trade and all of that. We'll bring him back on because that was sort of a snapshot a month or two, probably a month.
Well, there's also,
after.
as we talked about yesterday with Spano, that the fact that in London right now, the China and the U.S. are talking. So we may have news by the end of the week.
Yeah,
as far as where negotiations are,
which picked up the markets as well. And that's another interesting piece of this. So we had all the anxiety that was caused by the announcement of Liberation Day and all these tariffs drove some of the sectors down significantly. That's sort of rebounded. Some are actually outperforming where they were before that. That sort of pacified the American public because, as you get older,
Well,
like me.
public who's in the market.
Yeah, which
There's
is
a lot of Americans who are not in the market.
which I think is plus 50%, something like that.
That's around 50%.
Yeah, which is pretty healthy. And I advise everyone, however small, $5, $25, it seems like a lot, but boy, you can add up to like such a great return after all, especially if you're younger, like your age, a young kid. With a kid?
I'll take it. My birthday's next week. I'll take young kid.
All right. We're going to do something after the break that you and I were talking about. There's a big convention this weekend.
There is a big convention this
Dems
week.
meeting.
And we are very, despite neither of us being voting members in this convention, obviously have a strong bias towards one of the candidates.
And we're going to call out a few people. I think we are going to do that as well. So, yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, we'll get to that after the break. We got local news coming up, of course. And don't forget, Rose Gray is going to join me. So I think we have 3 seats left on our...
Yesterday was 2.
Was it 2?
Did someone drop out?
I don't know. It's like 2 or 3, somewhere in there.
Remember my rom-com
idea? I love that
someone's
idea.
going to have a meet cute at your
We
trip?
want to check off the 50th guest on our Hawaii trip.
Are you going to make the 50th guest also get a 50th tattoo with you?
I'm encouraging everyone to get a tattoo. Maybe we all get the same tattoo. No, that wouldn't be significant, though. Mine has to be unique. So anyway, we'll talk to Rose about that and sort of a crazy story where I'm going this weekend. We got local news with the one, the only John McCurry. Before we get to any of that, here's now the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump defending his decision to send National Guard troops and now Marines to Los Angeles to assist law enforcement with protests over immigration raids and protect federal buildings. California's Governor Gavin Newsom says the military is being used as political pawns. GOP House Speaker Mike Johnson did not say if he thinks Newsom needs to be arrested, as the president has suggested.
That's not my lane. I'm not going to give you legal analysis on whether Gavin Newsom should be arrested, but he ought to be tarred and feathered. I'll say that. I mean, look, he's standing in the way of the administration and the carrying out of federal law.
At a House budget hearing today, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the troops are trained in crowd control. In London, high-level talks continuing between U.S. and China delegations for a second day as the countries try to carve out a trade deal. And severe storms are leaving a trail of destruction from parts of the south to the northeast today. High winds and tornado damage along with flooding reported. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm John Mercure. Federal authorities are taking over search operations for a Pewaukee native they say killed his 3 young daughters in Washington last week. 32-year-old Travis Decker is still missing. The bodies of his daughters were found June 2nd. Decker's a former Army soldier who police say is well-versed in wilderness survival. There are new photos being released by police. You can check them out at WTMJ.com. Another legal filing in the case of Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan, this time from prosecutors. The federal government says that dropping charges would put judges above the law. Dugan's accused of helping an undocumented immigrant evade ICE agents at the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Last month, Dugan's defense filed a motion to dismiss her indictment of federal obstruction charges. And tick bite-related visits to the emergency departments in Wisconsin are up slightly from last year. Rates of Lyme disease have tripled in Wisconsin over the past 15 years. Time for news about your money on this Tuesday. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green. The NASDAQ is up 75 points. Right now, the Dow is up 64. The S&P is up 21 points. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Checking out those roads. Not a lot going on. There is one issue, a disabled vehicle on the exit ramp to Rawson from I-4194 North, so be very careful if you are in that area. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Midday clouds and some of that haze from the wildfires in Canada. Today, a high of 75. Tomorrow, mostly clear, a high of 63. Wednesday, chance for rain at night, a high of 83. Thursday, cloudy with chance for rain, a high of 65. Friday, rain is more likely, a high of 64. And on Saturday, going to dry out, cloudy with a high of 74. Right now in Madison, it's partly cloudy and 64 degrees. In Green Bay, there's also cloud cover and 63. Here in Milwaukee, partly cloudy and 64 degrees. I'm John Mercure, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:33.
And now for the Pella play-by-play, here's Jeff Levering.
Thanks, Gina Della from Pella. What a beautiful day to have new windows and doors installed.
Every day is beautiful because Pella installs year-round during all seasons.
It's so hard to guess that next pitch. The customizations seem endless.
And it doesn't have to be super expensive. Pella has a product line for every budget.
And if it is time for a major upgrade, rest easy by scoring no interest and no payments for up to 2 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply on 6/30/2025.
When a crane collapsed during construction of a Major League sports stadium, 3 workers lost their lives. Their widows called us. When maintenance workers were permanently injured by an industrial accident at a public utilities power plant, the 7 injured workers called us. When a factory exploded, injuring dozens of workers, 18 victims, including all 3 families of men who lost their lives, called us. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, and Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlawns.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Steel walk behind, zero turn, and stand on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel. Let's go mow.
For WTMJ contest rules, visit WTMJ.com/contests.
We can call this the Joe Sapecki Love segment. Right? So the Dems are meeting in, of all places, Wisconsin Dells.
Wisconsin Dells.
Boy, those water parks are going to be busy.
On Father's Day.
Yeah. Is that bad planning?
It's bad timing.
Yeah, what's that about?
I've never been to one of these.
I haven't either.
You've never been to a Republican one either?
No.
Okay.
No.
And so it's kind of out of our, as far as what the party should, but this also comes at a time, because we have not talked about the mess that is the National Party.
Yes.
We didn't talk about the leaked audio of Ken Martin kowtowing, not kowtowing, but this whole David Hogg thing as far as what power a 25-year-old looms over the party. That revote is coming up soon. And so that is an interesting thing to watch out at the national level as far as the inability to get past whatever infighting is happening to actually formulate a plan ahead of the midterms next year.
Yeah, which is important. If you're a Democrat, you want that to sort of be figured out. Now, in the Dells, they're choosing between...
This is for the state party.
State chair, which Ben Wickler, who's been a freaking guest on the program, Devin Remacher. Is it Devin Remacher? Is that the name?
You said frequent guest.
Frequent guest.
I heard something else.
Okay. Devin Remacher, right?
Yes. Who has worked for the party for a long time.
Garcia.
William Garcia,
who I don't know.
Congressional district, for the third congressional district.
Okay.
Chair.
There's some cred there. And our pal Joe Sapecki.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not a Democrat. I won't be at this thing. I won't be covering it. But let me just say this. I've gotten to know Joe pretty well over the last few years. And I know Ben Wickler because he's been on the show a million times, and I've had off-the-show conversations with him. A lot of respect, except for one thing, which I'll get to in a second. But Joe Sapecki is the smartest of the 3. He's the most qualified. It's not even close. He's the best communicator, which last time I checked is a really important part of this job. He may even be the best fundraiser. I'm a little less sure of that one. It's like Joe and then 2 other guys who, frankly, can't carry his water.
Well, I've only met Devin once, and it was in the lobby.
I met him the same day you met him.
So we met him when he was going to go on Sherwin Show.
Nothing against him.
I've never met William Garcia.
Never met him.
So I can't speak to their abilities, capabilities, experience, etc. Joe is one of my closest friends, and so I am so biased in this scenario.
We both admit that.
Like I can't, but I'm also not a voting member, so it doesn't matter. But I would say it's interesting to hear some of the, when it comes to the national party stuff with Democrats, almost all of it I read in headlines. I read what reporters are writing, right? Like the closest thing I got to there is my friend Josh Burstein ran for vice chair in this last round, did not win, is not part of the conversation for the revote, right? So that's the closest kind of access I have to firsthand experience with people who are dealing with the insular politics of the National Party. Here, I'm friends with more people who either will be voting, have endorsed, are part of the state Democratic politics, both the external ones as far as running for office, but also the internal politics that happen inside of the party. And it's just when you get closer to it and you hear some of the stories behind the scenes, it's why I have a really hard time, despite like everyone who listens to this show now or has watched any of my social media, like I'm left, right? Like right. I lean pretty far left as far as like the ideal world I want to see has more left leaning policies in it than right. But I also still have a really hard, like where you still are like, I'm a Republican, I have a really hard time saying like, I am a Democrat, like I am behind this party. Because when you hear about some of the internal politicking that happens for power, happens for positioning, happens for wanting access to still have control or this or that, instead of just actually showing up with integrity as far as what's best for the party because you think your party is doing what's best for the state, like that's where it gets like, this is why I don't want to be a part of both your metaphorical and literal party.
And this is what bothered me about this. Ben Wickler said he wasn't going to endorse.
I know.
And then he endorsed Devin
And now he's
Remacher.
whipping votes. Like, It's not even that he's just endorsing. He's calling people being like, you need to vote for Devin.
Come on, Ben. What are you doing?
Instead of saying, I'm gonna let people decide. But the other thing that is interesting about this that I did not know
I didn't either until you shared that story.
This Wisconsin Watch party. So Wisconsin Watch has an article that came out yesterday that was talking about kind of the three people who are running and who will be able to get them potentially a trifecta in 2026 when it comes to the legislature and the governor's office. What I did not know is this is going to be the first year that at the convention, they are going to be using ranked choice voting when they're voting for chair. Which, if you need a reminder of what ranked choice voting is, it's basically you vote down the ballot.
Yeah.
So for us, I would say I would vote if I was voting. Joe Zepecki, number 1. I'm going to say William Garcia, number 2, only because I'm mad about Ben's meddling with stuff. And then Devin Remacher, number 3. So you have your choices. And then whoever comes, unless someone gets outright 50% of the vote, whoever comes in third, their second choice vote gets redistributed to the other 2 candidates. So there is someone in like a first round of counting the votes who could be number 1. But based on how many people had their number 2 choice be one of the 2 candidates, in the second round of counting, someone else could come out ahead.
All right, so here's my recommendation
interesting.
to all the Democrats who probably care less what I think about their party or their person in charge. This is an easy one, Joe Zepecki. And I'm not paid to say that. He's the smartest one. His historical knowledge about almost everything to do with politics is significant. He's got the experience. He's done a lot of different jobs.
He's also someone you want to work for. Like, I would go work for Joe.
All right. That's our vote for Joe.
I'm not quitting this job. But
so
I'm
if you're
saying.
a Democrat who's heading to the Dells, first of all, pack your swim trunks or your bathing suit because it's a water park city, and vote for Joe. I expect Joe to come back victorious. If he doesn't,
we'll test how much influence Steve and I have right now.
Oh, I've got 0, but I'm going to say it anyway. Joe Zepecki for Democratic Chair, Wisconsin. Come on, people, do your job. After the break, the one, the only Rose Gray from Fox World Travel right here on 620 WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin, the best in the area. They're going to take care of you big time. You want to play pickleball. You want to golf. You want to play with your grandkids in the front yard and do it with no pain. Go to the place that has the highest patient satisfaction ratings and the top doctors in the area. It's Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. I've met the docs. I've walked through the hospital. It's absolutely incredible. They're going to take great care of you from beginning to end. Go to OHOW.com, hit the request an appointment button. OHOW.com, request an appointment.
An unsuspecting driver at a gas station in Wisconsin.
Welcome, Pump 15. How you doing?
Great.
Were you wearing your seatbelt today?
I never wear my seatbelt.
We're going to get him. We're going to get him real good.
Oh, my goodness.
Hello, sir. How you doing? Dollar driver. It takes 1 second to strap a seatbelt on. Well, let's do this. Let's do it together. Now, don't that feel better?
Donald Driver can't always be there to remind you.
Click it or ticket.
And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways.
And I should have recognized your voice when you're harassing.
I'm watching you.
Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
I'm here to help. This is your WTMJ Fix-It Show host, David Nason, with expert advice for our listeners. If you're dealing with leaks, stains, or cracks in your basement, it's time to call my trusted friends at Accurate Basement Repair. And you know what? You'll get a free expert evaluation on me. You just tell them David Nason, the Fix-It guy, told me to call. Don't let basement issues mess up your home. Trust Accurate Basement Repair to get the job done right. And again, that's Accurate Basement Repair, 414-744-6900 or accuratebasementrepair.com.
With an ever-changing inventory, you never know what great bargains you're going to be able to find at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. It makes shopping fun because the best finds are the ones you had no idea you'd even come across. And when they're at thrift store prices, it feels good. And it feels even better to know you're helping us help others. Shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves.
Are you talking about the One collection?
Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you,
visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
Oh, when we hear a vacation theme song, you know what's coming next. She's a great host of the Fox Road Travel Show on Saturday mornings at 9. I listen to it every week. If I don't listen to the show, I listen on the podcast. Rose Gray from Fox Road Travel joining us. Hi, Rose Gray.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So there was a little bit of confusion. I thought you said there were two left, and then we were talking yesterday about maybe somebody could meet up.
You've dashed my dreams of there being a meet cute rom-com happening on this trip.
Yeah.
The last two people, single people meeting, because apparently there's 4 seats left, right?
There's 4 seats. And then yesterday I found out they forgot to put me on.
Oh.
So I said, wait a minute. So, yes, there's actually 4 seats. And unlike when we do river cruises where I can get more, or ocean cruises where I can get more cabins, a motor coach holds how many a motor coach holds. And there's 4 seats left.
So we've done a great job on getting people to go on our Hawaiian trip. And it's next, not this November, but next November 9th, 2026 through November 19th. We get back before deer hunting, so don't think that's going to be a problem. But it's a great trip. We're covering 3 islands. And the cool thing about the way this is set up, Rose, and you guys always do a great job for us, is it's like a 3-3-3. 3 nights in 3 different locations. So plenty of time to put your roots down, see what you want to see. I love the fact you built in free days, which everybody's excited about. You can kind of do your own thing. But this is a fun trip.
It's a fun trip, and it's necessary because it's the 50th, it's your 50th state.
Yes.
And it's an important piece of our history. I am especially moved each and every time we go to Pearl Harbor because it's honestly, I'm going to just tell you, the very first time I went, there were a lot of Asian people on that tender that takes you over to the sunken ship, and they ask you to be very, very respectful. And everybody's loud, and you're very excited because you're on vacation. The moment we got to that area, everybody just zipped it, and everybody was all people were very, very respectful. And I just thought, how are they going to feel about this? And we cried together, we hugged. It was very emotional.
Yeah, so we have, as you said, 2 cabins, enough for 2 couples, 4 people. And I said to you last week when we were talking about this, I want to get this booked up fully before I leave for Scotland with you and with Gene Miller, the star of the show, on Saturday for Scotland for 11 days, which is going to be fantastic. Can't wait to tell those stories to Krista when I get back. But we want people to close our roster. We want 2 great couples to come along on this trip, celebrate with us, enjoy the warm weather, and if you want to get a tattoo like me, you can get a tattoo. I'm getting that tattoo to celebrate my 50th state, which is a big deal for me as someone who loves to travel. How can folks sign up today so we can close our roster and get this one done?
Yeah, so 866-GO-FOX-GO is the best way to do it during business hours because you're talking to a human being, not an AI person. You're not filling out a form. But if you are at work and you can't do that right now, you can hit up our website, and there's a little goldenrod rectangle in the bottom of the screen that says plan your trip. Just say, want more information about the Scafidi trip. They'll send it to you in whatever format you ask them to. They can text it to you. They can email it to you, and then you can take a look. I will tell you this, and I do not want to sound like a pushy salesperson, but I did take a phone call from one of our advisors in the Fond du Lac office this morning asking me very relevant, pointed questions about this trip. I said, do you have 2 on the hook? She said, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. See? And Rose, last thing for you. 2 things, actually. One, how fun is it to travel with me?
It's so much fun. You know, I got to tell you, the very first time I met Steve, my first impression was grumpy old man.
See?
The second time I met Steve, I was like, okay, that's just a little character he's created. He's not a grumpy old man. He's a very nice man. And then we went on our first trip together, and he said, Rose, I'm going to do this fun stuff. We're going to do trivia. And I was like, oh, I don't know, Steve. These people might not love that. Are you kidding me? They loved it. He was giving out swag bags and vouchers for dinner with Steve, and we just had an absolute blast.
And many of those people are lifelong friends now. Matter of fact, we were talking about a couple couples that we met on other trips that we now go out to dinner with. And Dennis and Stacy are joining us in Scotland, which is my last thing. This Saturday, we're going out with Gene Miller all the way to Scotland for 11 days. I am so excited about that trip.
Yeah, and we're really pumped because we wanted to get his next trip launched.
I saw that.
Portugal next year. We've already got 12 people signed up for that. So once they find out how much fun it is to travel with Gene Miller, you know, that trip is going to sell out as well.
All right. I'm sure my wife will be bugging me to go to Portugal now.
Oh, boy.
Rose Gray, well, here you are. I love, this is how hard Rose works. She's doing her show Saturday and then heading to the airport.
Wow.
That's exactly right.
That is Rose. Yeah. You are the best, Rose. 866-GO-FOX-GO. Let's close the roster so we have our 50 people. We can start planning our get-together next summer to sort of prepare for this great trip, talk about tattoos. Rose is going to be there. I'll be there. My wife, Kathy, will join us as well. We want you to join us. Let's close that roster. Let's get it done. Rose, I'll see you Saturday.
You will, and maybe Kristen, while you're gone, can come up with what kind of adventure she would like.
Oh, there you go.
I put my thinking cap on, Rose.
All right. We'll see you Saturday, Rose. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
All right, quick break. We'll wrap the show. Kristen Bryce, Steve Scafidi on Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
Hey, if you love true, authentic Mexican food, I highly recommend you stop at the Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford today. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mind Chef is the most affordable, family-friendly dining restaurant, and the Tuesday all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet is just $9.99. Whoa, that's incredible. Desserts are buy one, get one free. Kids and grandkids under 3 eat for free. Today from the kids' menu, they'll love that huge game room quietly set aside from the dining area wherever you live. It's worth the drive to the Mind Chef today for the all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet, just $9.99. Excelente. Wednesday, the all-you-can-eat haddock fish fry is $7.99. That's a crazy low price. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford, just off Highway 41 near the EAA in Oshkosh. 2 locations, both fantastic. No need to cook today. Just walk in, relax, and enjoy the all-you-can-eat Tuesday Mexican buffet for under $10. Check it out, mindchefrestaurant.com.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, Milwaukee's medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Weekend appointments available. Call now. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Dignified services with less expensive fees compared to other fine funeral homes. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on June 17th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Chicago Cubs.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Delta Dental of Wisconsin. Tune in June 17th at 7:05 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check out your local listings to watch the game.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I feel like they're showing a little bit of everything today. We talked about the big stories, obviously the LA.
We didn't have a ton of Wisconsin stories.
No.
But I actually saw one on the homepage for Milwaukee Journal Sentinel that I think kind of follows up on a conversation we were having in Madison, where Madison West students were arguing to let students vote in school board races. Now, we said that's probably not going to happen because it's in our state constitution. But I have to read more about this, and I would love to talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. MPS, Milwaukee, is going to give students a seat on the school board. Which I think I have to go read more about it. What does this look like? How do they pick which student will be on there? Good thing, bad thing? I don't know. Maybe we'll dive into this a little bit more tomorrow.
Yeah, workaround would be to have a student present always at the meetings and giving the student input. You don't have to necessarily make them a member. You could just have a student seat there where they could provide some input. Or
is that more or less impactful than letting high school students vote for school board?
That's a good question. We'll discuss it tomorrow.
We'll get into it.
And don't forget the hashtag now is more Steve and Kristen. And if that means go national, that means go national.
Go national, baby.
We're open to everything, as we've talked about on the show. So thanks for. There were so many texts today, I couldn't even read them all on a lot of different topics. We'll be back tomorrow.
Ask us anything.
Ask us anything. We have a guest tomorrow that'll be in studio, which I'm very excited about. Don't ask me what we're talking about because I've totally spaced it right now. And then the rest of the show, and then like 3 days from now, I'll be heading to Scotland with Rose Gray and Gene Miller.
Are you going to be just totally checked out by Friday?
Oh, yeah.
Do I have to carry the extra load Friday?
I'll be sort of involved with Bill and Joe, and then you'll be doing the last hour by yourself. I may not even be in studio. I may be already out the door.
Okay, fair enough.
But that's fair.
That's fair.
Point taken?
Point taken.
All right, Kristen and Steve will be back tomorrow. Lots of more great content on the programs today. Wisconsin Midday News coming up next on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. I hope you'll join me and Brian Jacobson, the chief economist for Annex Wealth Management, this Wednesday, June 11th at 9 a.m. as we dive into the markets, inflation, your 401k, and the economy. I know it's complicated and you have a lot of questions. Brian's got a lot of answers. This is a